welcome to the Friendship in Stupidity podcast. Hello, Isaac. How are you?
I'm tired.
Yeah?
You very tired.
You look a little tired. Are you high?
Yeah. What the hell? We're going to have to go into that. Yeah, I'm very tired. Just long day of work. But I'm here. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm here. But I look tired, and apparently it looked like I was high, because then whenever I walked by your roommate, she looked at me, and then apparently I gave off an odor of some sort of scent that resembles a herb that people ingest through air and inhaling.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently I smelled like that. And I was like, I smell like trash and the dog, because I just was at the trash can and took the trash out. So, no, I did not smoke or inhale air. But apparently I looked gorked out of my mind because I'm tired. But I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever actually gotten that, by the way? That you look like high?
No, I don't think so.
What the hell? I get it all the time.
Really?
Yeah. I actually had a manager that thought I was high at work one time. Called me out on it. Well, no, sorry, he didn't actually call me out on it.
Was this at GameStop?
This was at GameStop, yes. It was probably like my, I don't know, 5th or 6th shift. I don't really remember. And we were sitting there talking, whatever, and putting stuff away. And he was like, starts looking at me. He's like, do you wear contacts? And I go, yeah. I don't know if I was wearing my contacts that day, or I must have been. He's like, okay, your eyes just look very red. And I'm like, yeah, I got dry eyes. Yeah. And he's like, man, your pupils, they seem a little bigger than usual. I was like,
what are you getting at?
You think I'm high right now? I didn't think anything about it. I was like, okay. And I went and started putting games away, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck that was about. What the hell was that? And then it hit me after my shift. I was like,
He thought it was high.
yeah. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, I get it. It's GameStop, and I'm minimum wage, but come on, dude. I'm like, I'm at my job. I'm doing my job. I'm not gonna get high and then go to work.
I feel like we've talked about this before, but I've never gotten high and then gone to work.
Yeah, same. It freaks me out.
Yeah.
That's not something you should do.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I know people that do this, but I know people that I work with currently that have either smoked or taken an edible right before going on a call. And the thing that stresses me out is they go on client calls.
That's wild.
And
no.
I think I've mentioned this before. Whenever I'm high, I'm very aware of my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to not speak because I can hear it. And I think, man, I'm really, my voice is really annoying. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to hear it.
You don't want to deal with it.
Or I'm more likely to get tripped up over my words, and then I feel like everyone knows that I'm high.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, probably, because high people tend to either A, say the dumbest shit possible, or B, you can hear it in them, and you're just like, what's going on here?
There was one time, it was over the summer whenever we went on our family vacation. Joe, my brother, and I took an edible, and I can't remember if it was really early in the morning or if it was, I think it was. And I walked outside on the front porch, and my grandma was standing out there, and I said, do you think all these people, all the houses, because there was 4 or 5 houses in this line, and we were staying at one, and I said, do you think all these people know each other? They all just went in, and they were like, let's buy these houses or this plot of land. and then I also said, like, do you think they, like, it's not making as much sense this time through, but and I'm sure it didn't make sense.
I'm sure it
either.
didn't make any sense when you
But
said it. Yeah.
it was like, do you think the people that lived here, like, chose, like, to have, like, who their neighbors were? Like, meaning, like, do you think they were all friends?
Like
that,
the settlers? Or do
Yeah.
you mean the people who just moved in?
No, like the people that built each house. Or
Okay,
like,
okay.
I was like, do you think they know each other? Like, that's the reason why they're there? Probably not.
Nah.
But my grandma was like, well, no, that's discrimination. And I was like, well, no, that's. And then I just walked away because I was like, I feel like I'm gonna upset her somehow if I just, like, keep trying.
Yeah, because she's gonna be like, "What is wrong with you?" Yeah, yeah. That's probably not a good conversation.
It was, yeah. I mean, I'm stumbling over it now, but you should have seen me then.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was I think on one of the last days, I took another edible, and I went out and, like, sat next to the water, and, like, I could really feel the water
Mhm.
like go through me, and the sand, like, going on top of my feet and whatever. And I'm not gonna say who. I guess, like, I'll say who. It doesn't really matter. My mom came over to sit next to me,
Mhm.
and she puts her chair down. She sits down, and I say, I can really feel the water moving through me. And she looked over at me, and she just didn't say anything, and then she just looked forward.
Honestly, that's probably the best response you could give.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, honest to God, probably the best response.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, since we started this with, like, people, like, working with people that we know that have gotten high before, at the men's warehouse that we met each other at, you never got to work with her, but there was a coworker there who started after you left, every other day, maybe even every day,
Like, on shift
every day.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you talking about? Am I allowed to say her name?
I mean, you can. Yeah.
Is this Arian?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And she was a manager.
Yeah, she was like an assistant manager. Yeah. Well, no, she was. She would have been
the key two or something.
Yeah, she would have been a key holder. But oh my God, also, like, whoever was, like, the leader of, like, the prom and, like, rentals and all that. I can't remember the name.
Colleen.
of it. Well, no, she was the assistant.
Oh, I thought. So key two is the person in charge of prom.
Well, that's just who they put in charge of it.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
she
So
was.
what-
I mean, it doesn't matter. She had a set of keys.
Yeah.
She had a set of keys,
doesn't
and she
matter
was
where
the
the-
head of rentals. Yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't matter. But, like, so that was her, like, every shift, and she was like, "Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'll do it every shift. I work fine." And she had good sales too. She was like, "Man, it's whatever." And she did hardly had a care in the world too.
Mm-hmm.
And then when people would get her annoyed, she was like, "I don't got time for you," and she would just walk away from them. I was like, "God damn, dude!" She cracked me up. Like, that happened so many times. But
I feel like that probably came from Rachel. We
Probably.
had another
she was the
coworker,
best.
and her name was Rachel, and she was, I don't know, probably in her 60s. Whenever
Probably,
she was
like,
working.
early.
Yeah. And
Because she was close to retirement.
she was working there for longer than I had been alive.
Yeah.
I think it was only by a year, or like maybe it was the same year that I was born. But, like, she was like, I've been here for, like, 21 years or something, and I'm just like,
It's wild.
you've been selling suits for this long.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
No way. No fucking way I would be able to do that. But she did have the best attitude. Probably
She
didn't
did,
help
yeah.
either that she was so close to retirement.
Yeah.
And she would just be like, "I don't fucking care," and would just walk away.
Yeah, like, I'm not working with you. Or
I heard that
she'd
so
be,
many times.
She would be, like, in the middle of, like, eating her lunch, but she would eat it, like,
She would
out
eat
on
right
the
at
floor,
the
like, on, like,
Yeah.
like at the desk.
Yeah.
And, like, she'd be eating an apple, and she'd walk over, and she'd be like, "No, this isn't. You're not getting that suit."
Yeah. I forgot. You'd be like mid bite of a sandwich. What? What do you want? Yeah, sure, I'll help you. I don't care. That was, oh my God, I forgot all about that. She was wild for that. But yeah, it probably did like those two. But those two actually, I think they might have even like butted heads because I think they just both had that same personality. Yeah. So it didn't work out for them too well. They got along fine. Mm-hmm. But so that was like a functioning. I can't even say the other guys wasn't a functioning smoker, but so Arian, very functioning, did her job fine. Cut to somebody else that I knew that actually worked with at Men's Warehouse. He was kind of almost the opposite. Like he would do it like in Men's Warehouse, they have it's like a 5-way mirror. Mm-hmm. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it'd be a 5-way mirror. And so it was just to help the tailor know what's going on. But for those who don't know, when you go to a Men's Warehouse, that's the best place to hide. You can literally just escape from people because they have such a horrible blind spot to them where like just like if you're walking towards it.
Okay.
It's it's just a wall, and it's like a little cutout in the wall.
Okay. I thought okay.
It's like obviously if you look at the mirror, you can see the person in there.
Right.
But like when you're walking at a certain
because that's
angle,
what I was thinking. I was like,
see it.
well, you could just look in the mirror and you just
exactly. But like it just looked like a normal wall if you didn't know that was there. So there would be so many times where I'd be sitting there walking, and then I would turn a corner, and he would be in there, and he would go, and then just stare at me, and I'm like. You can release. I'm not a man. I'm not a manager. I don't care. We're friends. Like I don't care that you're doing that. Or there would just be sometimes we just see like a little bit of smoke like leak out, and you'd be like, "What's going on in there?" And then you would go around the corner, and he'd just be like putting it back into his pocket, and I'm like, "Yeah." But he would be almost the opposite, where like he would just get too gorked, and he'd just be like. No, I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. No. And then would sometimes just sit there, and I'm just like, dude, you can't do that. Like, you're just sitting in the middle of the floor. Like, come on, what are you doing? Or like, they would just have people when he's watching like videos on his phone. I was like, okay, like that's a bit much. Like you could still be functioning, but sometimes he would go to the extreme. And then I've also known people too, also at Men's Warehouse, where they would just
Men's Warehouse was a great place to work.
Oh, absolutely.
It was so much fun.
It was. It's a great time. Prom sucks, but every other time, awesome. But I knew another guy. He would just get blasted. Like he would just drink at work, and I saw that man drink a whole entire bottle of Crown in a day. We worked a 12-hour, so we worked all day, and he drank a whole entire thing of Crown Apple. And at the end, he did not like. Didn't stammer on any of his words, didn't do anything, did everything perfectly well. Assistant manager, great assistant manager. Literally did the best job that whole entire day working. Did not slow him down. At the end of the day, all he could say, though, at the end of the day was, I'm not drunk or anything. His response was, my stomach hurts from all the pop that I mixed my alcohol with. And I was like, that's what you're taking away from this day is from all the pop. But like, honestly, like he was just doing like kind of like rum and cokes and stuff. So, I don't know, what is Crown? Why am I blanking on what Crown is?
Whiskey, isn't it?
Okay, so he was doing like whiskey and coke then.
Is that right?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I think
he was just mixing it with pop, and it was so much pop, like, because he kept getting those fucking big gulp looking things, and he would just pour it in there, and so that he just went through it the whole entire day. And I was like, that's wild. But that was his response was, my stomach hurts from that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah. He also brought in his PlayStation to download video games, and also brought in like a small DVD player, and we watched John Wick on the TV in Men's Warehouse.
I think Aaron may have done that at the Men's Warehouse we worked at. I think he brought in a either a DVD player or something so we could watch TV or like whatever it was. Yeah,
because in all honesty, like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who, like, if you go into somewhere and you just see a worker not working and you need help, that's when it's frustrating. That's when you're like, okay, whatever. But if it's dead and you like walk in and somebody's watching something and they pause it and they're like, oh, my bad. Like, I don't care two shit. It's like, dude, you're bored out of your mind. I
mean,
get it.
well,
Like, I
and
don't
for the
give a
most part,
shit.
there's a dinger that goes off whenever someone walks
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
So like more often than not, you're gonna be like, okay, time to go.
Yeah.
Talk to. But even if like as a customer, if I walk in and I see a TV on, I feel like that's just normal.
Yeah.
I feel like in most places like that, there's usually a TV,
Yeah, for sure.
and it's usually for the customer.
Well, yeah, it's usually for the customer. It's usually not like a movie though.
No.
You know what I mean? It probably usually has like promotional videos or something, or like, check out this on Friday the 13th. That's what they were at GameStop, at least.
I think. Well, there was actual TV on in the Men's Warehouse one when we were.
Yeah, because I can remember watching football games.
Yeah.
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 But like, I feel like other than that, it wasn't on most of the time. But I mean, like, I do know there are some places. But again, like, if I saw somebody doing it, if their shit's done, it doesn't bother me one bit. Like, I don't.
You good? All right. I'll see you later.
Yeah, exactly. Like, now if they're like, you're sitting there like, hey, I need this unlocked, and they're like talking on the phone or something, then it's like, okay, dude, come on. Like, let's relax. Like, I don't care if you're watching stuff on your phone and you pause the video, because I would do that all the time. Like, I literally get all my cleaning and shit done at like GameStop, and I would just watch it on my phone. I don't care. But some people take a little bit too much advantage of that, and that's when people get like, they start smoking, and then they and then they get too,
they start
too gone
to be a little bit bold and do stuff like that. The I think GameStop would just be a lot harder to do anything in, because it's just like a narrow hallway basically. Like that's all GameStop is. But with Men's Warehouse, there's at least like some places where you could sit and hide.
Yeah,
so
for
if
sure.
you don't see, or you can go behind the like all of the racks of jackets.
Yes, for sure. I wouldn't even do that. Sometimes I would just sit down on the padded seats. They'd have like for like the benches.
Yeah.
And I would just lay there. If there was nobody in there, of course, and because I'm like, what else are we gonna do? And if someone came in, you could easily get up from it and not. It wouldn't raise any attention most of the time because they were in blind spots, and I'm like, I'm just gonna lay here. Who gives a shit?
I would either do that, or I would lay on, like, when you walk in all the way to the right where the custom area was, like the custom suits and whatever. I would just lay right next to that, because you couldn't see anything. And then it'd be funny, like, whenever someone comes in, you just see someone like pop up like a whack-a-mole.
I don't know if we told this story or not, but I had my assistant manager. He would just do random shit all the time, and he's like, all right, you guys are pissing me off. You don't need me anymore. I'm just gonna go into my office. And he would just crawl behind jackets. And I remember there was one time he crawled underneath some jackets, and the people were looking at the jackets that right where he was at. So he just had to stay in there for the longest time. And then we were like, they asked us a question, and we were like, oh, I'm not really sure, but he knew the answer to it. So he literally crawled out from underneath the jackets, and he goes, well, actually, we have that on sale online. They were like,
where did you come from?
What the hell? But I think they might even saw him crawling out from underneath. Like, at that point, you can't really play it off except for like, oh man, I saw something fall under there. I've been picking up like pins and whatever. Like, maybe. But like, yeah, it was probably the funniest damn thing I've ever seen in my life.
They didn't bat an eye though.
No, probably not.
They were probably like, oh, you're going to get me a sale? Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you come from, Gremlin?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they wouldn't care at all. Like, it was wild. I do not have to keep thinking of Men's Warehouse shit.
Well, I was just thinking about a really interesting story you once told me that I'm pretty sure you didn't tell on the podcast.
Oh boy.
It was a story about a certain person that started at Men's Warehouse after I had left.
Okay.
And she only worked there for like a week or something.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I was trying to be vague just so you could tell the full story.
No. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. I forgot all about that. Good Lord. Yeah, I'll absolutely.
I completely forgot about that until you started telling the other stories.
Yeah. Oh my God. I did think about it too. I might have never smoked and gone to work. But there was one time at one Men's Warehouse that on our lunch break, we all went to a food joint in the mall, and they did feed me like 3 beers, and I drank like 3 beers, and I was like, whatever, I'm doing okay. Started walking back, immediately felt like I was very well off, like, and very tipsy, and I was like, I do not need to be around anybody or money right now. And then I think it was dead for most of the night, so it didn't matter. But I do remember feeling very weird, even in that state where I was like, I think I even tried to help somebody at one point, and it was just like, I was like, the 46 is what you need. They're like, you just measured me at a 42. What do you mean? I know, I know what you're saying, but like, yeah, it was something like that. It was bad.
I just remembered whenever I transferred to the next Men's Warehouse, whenever I had graduated and moved from where we were, there was one time when it was just me and the assistant manager, and he pulled out his pen to smoke, and he hit it, and he's like, here, you want to take a hit of this? I'm like, sure, why not? I haven't smoked in a long time, and I hadn't. It had been a pretty long time since I did. And the problem with me and pens, especially whenever it's like the first time, I always hit it too long. And I'm coughing. I'm like basically like gasping for air. And he's just like, all right, calm down. You just go into the back, get some water, whatever it was. And I don't know how long I sat in the back, but it was maybe like an hour and a half before close.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And like it was dead. Like there was I don't think anyone came in after. But I walked back there, and then I came back, and he was like already working on like the cash register till. And I think it was just because it was dead and he didn't think anyone was going to come in. But like he's listening to music. He's got like his tie around his head. Like I remember it so like weirdly that it was just like such a weird scene. And then I was just like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I got to get out. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't keep doing this. And then on the drive home, that was whenever I first started contemplating miles per hour for the first time.
God. Yeah. Let's hear this.
And it was, I was thinking about like the origin of miles per hour and how like so much had to happen for us to start tracking the speed of a car. And I thought, well, it started with a horse, and like how many miles that horse can go in an hour. And then I started thinking about like horsepower and how many horses could pull a certain object.
I hate this.
And it just like it kept going, and then by the time I was done, I was like, oh, I'm home.
I hate that. I hate that that's what you were thinking.
It was a 30-minute drive.
Oh my God. What the hell, dude?
It was, yeah. Well, and there's sometimes whenever I'm driving and I just want to pass the time, I think about like if I'm thinking I have 60 miles until I get to wherever I'm going. If I go 80 miles an hour, how much time am I saving? And then I start to think, well, if it's 60 miles an hour, that means 1 mile per minute.
I hate this.
And then
I think we've talked about this before, and I've expressed my hatred for this. But continue.
I mean, that's basically it. It's just because it always takes me a minute to like do like the other like the calculations. Like, okay, then if it's like I'd have to do like 60 divided by 80, or it's the other way around or something like that. And then I figure like, well, I guess I'm only going like a mile or I'm going 1.2 miles every minute. So it's like barely anything. And then by the time I've thought about it, I've already gone like 10 miles. So it's like, okay, this has helped.
I hate that. I hate that. Like, no.
I'm an analytical thinker. Like this is like
I guess. I mean, I'm an overthinker, so like
I'm not even good at like any kind of maths. So it's like it's really interesting that one, that's the job that I'm in, and too. That's like what I think about just whenever my brain is at ease.
Oh yeah, I mean, my last job, I was like, I don't want to do anything with math. It was math. It was absolutely math, and I was like, guys, if you knew who you tired and you knew how bad I was at math, like, I remember they said like I would need to know like sometimes like possibly the tangent of a triangle or something. I was like, dude, stop! Don't say this to me, please. I don't want to hear these words. Don't.
Well, that was trigonometry, so that was like the class that you almost failed.
Yeah, but hey, I dropped it before I did it.
That's
so,
true.
You know,
that's true.
I never failed a class, so it was easy. Just had to drop it. Just had to drop it. It was as simple as that. Everyone got so worried about dropping classes.
If you drop it before, like, it was always stupid. Like, if you drop a class before like 3/4 of the way through a semester, you just get like an X.
Yeah,
and then it doesn't count.
Yeah, the X's don't mean shit.
Yeah, so like you could go through a whole entire semester and then realize, you know what, I'm not turning it around.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a waste of time because you're going to every class.
Well, yeah, but there
like,
would be some times where people were like, the professors would just straight out tell you, they're like, you're not going to pass.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get straight A's from the rest of this point on out, and you've gotten no A's so far. It's like, I got you. I'm picking up your stuff.
I'm picking it up, yeah.
Yeah, I'm smelling what you're stepping in. Like, I got it. I'll drop the bitch, okay? Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Get out of my class.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're like, you're dumb as fuck. Go. And you're like, okay. Thanks, bud. Thanks. Before I forget, before it's out of my mind, the story about the Men's Warehouse.
Yeah. And while you're telling it, I'm gonna check what time we're on because my computer went to sleep again.
Yeah, which I wonder, like, if anyone has ever thought about that. That's watching.
Like the fact that I like bend over during.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I mean during the actual, like, you know, if people don't watch the actual the video part of it, they wouldn't think anything different about it. But at certain points during the video, you'll see you like going down and typing on the computer. That's literally just to see how long we've been going.
Yeah.
And just to make sure that something didn't mess up on the recording. So if anyone has wondered that, there you go.
Well, and it's just to see how much time we're at because like.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like we have a watch on or something.
We probably should, honestly.
We probably should. Or we could just make sure that this doesn't go to sleep.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it's too much work.
So we're at 28 minutes. So I bet we could probably tell your story and finish it up.
That's probably not even actually true because even then we had like a
bit.
a little bit. Now I'm gonna butcher this story though because it's been every bit of 2 years now that I've thought about this. So, and I mean, it was wild, but it wasn't anything crazy.
It was just, it's really funny to hear the excuses that people come up with.
Yeah.
To not go to work.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I think that's the point of it.
And yeah, and that's what it was. And this girl did it for like, she literally worked a week, maybe two. I think after thinking about it, maybe 2 weeks, if that.
But did she work for those 2 weeks, or did she work for 1 week and then start calling off?
I worked with her one shift. That was it. I worked with her one shift. So we hired somebody just for help because it was right after the pandemic and it was just an absolute shit show everywhere. Like, for those who don't know, like right after that, for at least like retail, it was awful. For Men's Warehouse, somehow they were able to get back up and going, even though you could literally try on the clothes that and that didn't bother people, like, which was wild to me. Like, it did bother people, but whatever. And pretty much what Men's Warehouse had to do every single time you did that, we had to take those clothes, put them somewhere else, and then we would have to steam them at the end of the night.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I forgot
fucking
all about
awful.
that. Oh,
we had a whole entire room of just shirts.
Yeah.
And after a while, we couldn't even steam them anymore. We were like, grab it. Grab it. We can't. Who fucking cares? Grab it. It was wild because there's so many people, and we went through so much product so fast that we just had a literal room of shirts. Like, it was just disgusting.
Also, this is just random, but like, who thinks when you're creating a store for men's clothing, let's fold up the shirts and put pins in them.
Not only
And don't show them off in any good way. Have them flip back and forth just to show off, like,
Yeah.
have the tag that says, like, the size.
Yeah.
And then say, this is a 16 and a half or 16 to 16 and a half neck or something, 34, 35. Most people don't even know what that means. They're like, I wear a large.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, I don't want you to touch me with the measuring tape. Just tell me, like, and we're like, well, here's a chart that you can guess, I guess. Like, what do you...
And then they try on 3 shirts, and then you have to fold them and then poke yourself and, and make yourself bleed.
Because when Andy says pins, he means, I think there is 10 pins per shirt. Or is it less? It's a shit ton.
Yeah. I feel like I could figure it out if I really think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like,
over 5.
That
sure.
those shirt walls, like every Men's Warehouse that I worked at, I would go and reorganize them all the time because it, like, for the most part, it would take like a whole entire shift and no one would bother me. They would, like, everyone would be like, Andy's working on the shirt wall, so everyone else has to work with someone. Like, if someone walks in, like, you're responsible for it.
Yeah, because like you said, it literally takes a whole entire day. But yeah, that was an absolute shit show. And since, where was I? Oh yeah, and so we were hiring literally any Tom, Dick, and Harry off the street pretty much at that point. Like, literally anyone that, like, needed a job, they were like, you want to work? And they were like, well, how much you pay? And they're like, this.
Well, they hired you back, so.
Yeah, absolutely. They were like, yeah, we'll take you. Yeah, we're dying here. It's a sinking ship. And that was after, like, they got enough hours to hire people, because that was another issue too, because they were like, well, we're only open a certain amount of hours, so we can only hire a certain amount of people because we're making X amount of money. So that was another shit show. It was like 3 people running the store. It was disgusting. And so when they finally started getting people, no one wanted to work, like, at all. And so then again, we just hired fucking anybody. So we hired this girl, which I won't say her name.
I can't remember.
I can't remember her name. But in the story, but at one point in the story, we'll call her Mary.
Okay.
Not her actual name, but we'll call her Mary.
It might have been.
Yeah, it might have been. Who the fuck knows at this point? So Mary started, and she was working. They said that she had another job, and it was like, it's whatever, work when you can, whatever. She worked one shift. She was very nice. Nothing seemed off, whatever. And then next shift, don't see her. Next shift after that, don't see her. And I think maybe the second or third shift I mentioned, like, oh, hey, like, how's Mary doing? And they're like, yeah, she didn't come in. And I was like, what do you mean she didn't come in? And they're like, yeah, her second shift, she didn't come in. And I'm like, okay, so, like, is she done? No, she's not done. What do you mean? She didn't show up for her shift. Like, it's a thing when somebody gets hired, if they don't show up for a shift, unless it's a very good reason, they're done. And for anywhere, really. And our assistant manager goes, no, she's not done. I'm like, okay then. They're like, she does have another shift though this day. We'll see if she works. That shift, she comes in for. Wow, Mary, good job. But then she gave an excuse of, like, oh my God, like, my car, something was going on with my car or something, whatever. I don't remember the excuse now at this point. So then I was like, okay, so next shift, come in. I don't work with her. And I was like, oh, how, did she show up? And they're like, she did show up. Okay. And they're like, yeah, she did not do jack shit though. And I was like, okay, that's really cool.
Progress.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's really cool. And they're like, but, I mean, that's probably because she was working so many hours at her other job. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And they're like, yeah, well, do you know what she does? Did anybody tell you what she does? And I was like, well no, like, I don't need to know that information. I'm the lowest man on the totem pole. Why the fuck do I get told this stuff? And they're like, oh, well, we don't care. She's a stripper. So then I said, interesting. I have not worked with one of those before.
One of those.
Yeah, I was like, interesting. Okay. And they were like, yeah, so that's her other job, and that's how she makes so much money. And I was like, hey, do what you gotta do, I guess. Like, she I think she had a kid, so it was like, hey, you gotta provide for your kid. I get it. Yeah, totally get it.
It's funny that you go from being fully clothed in like formal attire
yeah.
to no clothes.
Yeah. And making more money, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't even just show up to your other job.
Yeah, exactly. Making so much, you don't even have to show up for the second job. So that was not much was more said about that. And then shift goes by, whatever. The next shift I come in, I think probably literally the next shift that I come in, I was like, oh hey, did she show up? Nope. What the fuck? What do you mean she didn't show up? She just didn't show up. She works tomorrow. She works tonight. We'll see if she shows up then. Didn't show up. And it was like, okay, well, she works tomorrow, so we'll see if she works tomorrow. Next shift after that, hey, did she ever show up tomorrow? The next day? Nope, didn't show up. And they were like, what in the world? Like, I'm like, okay, well, she's done now. Nope, she's not done. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, we're hurt so bad. We need to keep anybody we got. I was like, this is wild.
She's done when I say she's done.
I was like, this is wild. But then they were like, she did though say that, there's some major like family issues going on and whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, she said that she had to take her kid to the hospital and like kid broke her arm, broke his arm and all this crazy shit. And I was like, oh my God, that's awful. And she's like, she knew somebody who just, died or it was some crazy shit. And I was like, oh my God, like that's awful. I was like, I feel bad. Like I felt bad. I was like, wow, that's some crazy shit. Like I get it. Whatever.
Didn't her mom get stabbed at some point?
Yeah, it was a wild story. Like her mom got stabbed by somebody.
I think it was her ex-boyfriend, like Mary's ex-boyfriend stabbed Mary's mom.
Yeah, I mean, it was some crazy ass shit that happened. And then on top of it, her son broke his arm. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And all this crazy shit. And I was like, I genuinely felt bad. I was like, this is crazy. Next shift, we found out that was all bullshit.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, all of that.
How did you... didn't Colleen... Okay, go ahead.
We found out that it was all bullshit because our old assistant manager, Colleen, is a cyber sleuth and found her stripper page on Facebook and found out that she had 2 names now at this point. And then we looked on another profile on Facebook and found out that she had 3 different Facebook profiles, all different first names. Okay. So Mary was also... and the other one was a lamb. So like she had 3 different names. It was wild. Like I was like, what in the world's going on? And on one of her profiles, it was literally the past like 3 or 4 days that she should have worked, all timelined about how she literally went to a different state and partied every single night and was going wild every single night and was like, yeah, man, my mom, she, got stabbed and my kid broke his arm, all this different shit. And we were like, all just made up, all completely made up. And I was like,
so she's gone now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this is the wildest shit I've ever seen. I'm like, you told our manager, right? And she's like, oh, absolutely. I was like, that's crazy. What did he say? And she was like, hopefully she shows up for the next shift. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that was their response of I hope they show up for the next shift.
Was this Aaron?
Yeah.
No, Aaron, like, he was too nice.
He was too nice, and at that point too, he was mentally checked out.
Yeah, he was on his way out.
He was literally looking for other jobs, so he was like, she'll show up for the next shift. And literally, but we were also hurting so bad where we just needed people that badly that we were gonna be okay with that. And I don't think they ever they called. She never answered. Mary never answered any of the calls and just never showed up again. So we were like, yeah, she's probably done. Probably shouldn't put her on the schedule anymore. But she shows
up and like, hey, I was wondering when I was gonna get on the schedule.
Yeah,
again.
Completely hungover. I was really looking for the schedule. I thought I worked today, and I was like, bitch, you worked 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about? You worked 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday, from 9 to 5. Yeah, it was the wildest thing ever. I can't believe I forgot. I wish I remember the crazy story because I do think it was like her mom got stabbed by like her ex-boyfriend. I mean, it was some wild shit, and I was like, oh my God.
And I'm pretty sure you like you told the story to me. It wasn't like over text. I can look to see if I have it by chance.
I might have sent you on text. Like,
Yeah.
I've switched phones since then
Uh-huh.
because I was gonna actually try to look it up, but I do think I sent it to you. So you might have to do like a search thing on your text to see. But yeah, that was probably the wildest employee that I worked with, and I met her once. Shout out to Mary if you're out there, if you even remember.
Yeah. If you had a lamb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you and your 3 other Facebook profiles. That was wild. But it was really funny though to see every single day like timelined out and like her just literally partying in the back of like a limo. It was so weird. It was so weird because like I was just like, boom, she was supposed to work that day. Boom, she was supposed to work that day, like literally every single day. And I was like, this is wild. And then she was like, her excuse this day, her mom got stabbed. Her excuse this day, son broke his arm. Excuse this day, car broke down. And I was like, my God, fucking just roasted him. And then Aaron's response was, well, she's on the schedule for Thursday, so
we'll see we'll see if she's here.
Yeah, it was so wild. I was like, what in the world? But yeah, we were just hurting for people that bad. It was crazy. But hey, gotta love Men's Warehouse.
Well, I mean, if we didn't work at Men's Warehouse, we wouldn't have these stories.
Damn right.
I feel like I don't have anything like, even at like any of the jobs that I've ever worked at, I don't have anything that's that like
memorable.
Yeah.
I think most of my memorable ones was me just getting very angry. Like angry at a customer or something, or like coworkers getting angry at a customer, or just like customers saying like really some dumb shit sometimes. Like those are those type of stories I remember.
I remember there was one time when someone was one of our coworkers was working with an older guy, and the older guy shat himself.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you were working there yet.
That's wild.
But like the guy that was, we'll call him why is it so hard for me?
You
Because
pick a name.
I'll just say Jack.
Okay.
I just kept saying his name over and over again instead of thinking of another name. We'll call him Jack. Jack was just like being real nice. He's just like this older gentleman. I put him in the bigger room so he can have some room, and he relieved himself right on the bench.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And the funny thing is, like, we still use that bench. Like, we still use that
sure.
that fitting room.
Yeah, for sure. You spray that down with some Clorox, you're good to go.
Yeah,
some of that Pledge spray, you're fine. Hell, you can even use the window or like the mirror cleaner on it. I use that on plenty surfaces other than mirrors. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah. Whatever does the job. Simple as that.
So, do you think that you're like a suit snob? Like you have to get like the best of the best suits now? No. We also we have between the two of us probably 10 suits.
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we could have way more, but I don't know. But here's the question, Andy. To end it off. How many of those suits fit now since we've started working on Men's Warehouse?
We're gonna end it there.
Yep.
We won't go into that number because
we'll go ahead and cut that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and cut that question from the line. Camera, if you can, just go ahead and cut that from the line of questioning.
Yeah. Just
oh shit, Andy.
Yeah.
I didn't tell my weed story.
The Jack story?
Yeah. Did you look it up though? Is today the year, or next episode going to be the year?
What's the date today?
I have no idea.
Let's not say it because then they'll know.
Don't,
I think by the time this comes out, it will be recreational marijuana will be legal in the state of Ohio.
Okay, maybe next episode then.
Yeah, I was going to say next episode, and then I think the episode after that we'll be talking Christmas again.
I think your timeline might be off, but that's something we can talk about.
Well, I mean, we're in December.
Yeah. But
This is coming out not this Friday, but the following Friday.
Yeah.
And then next week when we record, it's gonna come out the next Friday.
Yeah, I know. Where does that put us in December, though?
I mean, that might even be in January.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
We might have to talk a Jack and Christmas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, hey, next episode might be a Christmas episode. So I mean, it's your timeline's off here.
Yeah, well,
but we can figure that out.
Yeah,
and you guys can be surprised by whatever it is, because we don't even know what we're going to talk about.